and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Field Freak. I'm your host Chase with my co-host Blake and John.
Yo.
Yeah.
Let's get this shit show on the road. Season 2.
Look, the season 2 started out with one of the most fun shit shows I've been to in a while.
This was fantastic. I'm so glad I stumbled upon this movie and made us watch this.
Who
Oh
knew
my God.
Amazon Prime was what we needed in our life the whole time?
Yeah.
Netflix is dead. It's
Yeah.
dead to me.
Yeah, they changed their rating system. They don't have near the stuff that Amazon Prime has on it. So this is going to be a Prime-heavy season, folks. So if you don't have it, find somebody that does and get their password.
Yeah. Buddy up to your rich uncle who has it and
Yeah.
get his password.
So,
I mean, where do we start?
you guys are giddy.
I'm so excited to talk about this movie. It was so ridiculous. The first thing I want to get out there is we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, and one of the lines that John said was that this movie was kind of competent, to which I took a lot of offense to.
Right.
Because my thing is, if you're going to make a movie that's intentionally campy and bad, you've got to commit to that. You can't waffle back and forth between it just being a bunch of nothing and then a campy little joke thing happens.
Right.
You got to pick a lane.
I mean, okay, I feel like I gotta defend my statement now. Because you gotta... I'm talking about, it's context. So, like, compared to something like Avalanche Sharks or Planet of the Sharks, this movie, like, had, you know, shot compositions. You know what I mean? Like, and
Sort of.
the cuts
No, sir.
made sense.
No, you're wrong.
Did you see the scene in the end with the standoff? Not to jump ahead, but when the final standoff starts, the camera kind of like falls out of the person's hands and points up to the sky for no reason whatsoever.
What
Did you
about...
notice that?
Though.
Could nobody build a half-ass Steadicam?
John,
All right.
you and I made a low-budget horror movie in college, and we built a goddamn Steadicam.
Well, look, the first thing
You know how we built a Steadicam? We hung the camera from its strap and walked with it.
it
Worked
works.
great.
Steadicam built.
They literally had the camera on a tripod and panned it to follow cars and shit.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works. Because you can even see the initial jump where they had to get like the friction, like past a little friction point to get it
Yeah,
moving.
it like launches forward and then steadies out.
Yeah. It was bad. And what I thought was, this is what happens when you make a movie in your papa's backyard. Like, that's what Field Freak is. It was all done in one location. It would just, hey, let's make a movie today. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. I'm
But
pretty
hey,
sure it was all shot in
$9,000 budget.
$9,000 that went somewhere.
What, for $1,000 more, you get Blair Witch, though, right?
Yeah.
Put that in perspective.
You know where that $9,000 went? They had to acquire the rights to the music from Mario 64 to play throughout this movie. I actually went and referenced the music in Super Mario 64. It's damn close.
Oh, man.
That's amazing.
Go and when your free time, go listen to the file select music. It's almost that main theme that they play.
Are you talking about the inquisitive music or the
Anticipatory music?
anticipatory music? That's
Or the
what
calming
subtitle-
music?
Yes.
Or the frolicking music? Or the
Right.
funky music?
Right.
Just to get it clear, the anticipatory music, the calming music, and the frolicking music were all the same song.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. So, well, I guess let's dive in. We got our opinions out. Let's start going through this thing.
Yes.
Let's get in there.
Yeah, where we open up to, again, the opening theme song to Mario 64.
Right.
And it's basically the intro to Harry and the Hendersons. The family
Exactly.
their station wagon through the woods.
Except they couldn't afford to have animals on side the highway.
Yeah. So they're driving through the woods with the synth bongos and strings in the background. And
you could even hear a distant Yahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo!
So they're so excited about the woods. It's to where it's like something out of a magazine. There's so many trees. Who would have thought the woods would have so many trees?
It came as a shock to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty insane. They'd never seen a forest before.
They get to the cabin where they've purchased this cabin.
Yes.
It's got a big for sale sign in the yard, and they all get out of the car, and they're all wearing the clothes that they're wearing is just grab the first thing off the rack.
And also, let me just say, this is the worst family, like, ever. Ever. You do not want to be part of this family.
No.
Not that they're extremely mean or anything. It's just, ugh. Well, the dad's a dick. Let's just get that out the way. But it's not even intentional. It's just throughout this whole movie, he promises his son, "Oh, we'll do this tomorrow," when it never fucking happens.
It's like if Ned Flanders was really inconsiderate.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they pull up, and the father, Charles, is supposed to be this famous writer who's working on his second book, and he can't get it out. There's too many distractions in the city, so he's got to get somewhere where he can write. Very
Right.
Shining-esque.
Yes.
Which I thought they were going to go into that kind of thing later, but we'll get to that. But he's so upbeat, it's hard to think that he's struggling with this at all.
Yeah, he's like super like
He's
aw,
so
shucks,
happy.
Like,
And in this whole scene, I could tell that the Linda, the mom, she really doesn't want to have anything to do with this movie. Because every time she delivered a line, she'd lean in, deliver it, and then lean back and look off screen.
I really think that she was just somebody who wrote or shot this movie, whatever 15-year-old was in charge of this thing. That was somebody's mom.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need a mom. Can we use your mom? And she's like, yeah, give me scotch and Doritos and I'll do it.
maybe my mom's got no standards.
Yeah.
So they're there. They've got a little kid, Lonnie, and he's a little wiener of a kid.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna grow to hate this kid as much as his family hates him.
Yes.
So the dad's all in his face. Oh, it's gonna be so great! Aren't you excited about all this? And he's, hell yeah. That's how the kid talks in this whole movie. Who's my friend? Oh. So they're unpacking in the house. He's unpacking his bestseller book to get that out there that he's a number one best-selling author.
Right.
I wouldn't read a book written by this guy.
No.
There's some details. They pull out the book and like it's got a picture of him on the front cover of the book, which never happens on any book ever.
Not on the inside binding, no.
And I thought, they're trying so hard to make you believe that he's an author.
Yeah.
You know, like he just told us when they pulled up that he needed to write the book. And that's all we needed, but they just keep hammering on it.
And that's this whole movie. because this movie is 90 minutes long,
Yeah.
but the first hour and 15 minutes of that, it's like 4 act ones back to back. They just keep reiterating the same thing. These are the characters, and then, oh, there might be a Bigfoot, and what could that be? Again, the next day, here's our characters again. Whoop, there might be a Bigfoot. What could that be? Just over and over.
I found it delightful. It was very easy for me to follow.
Yeah. After sitting through all of season 1, this movie was a delight.
Yes.
With how straightforward it was. He's on the phone with his literary agent,
Right.
trying to get an extension so he can finish this book. And he
But
claims
he's having a discussion that he should be having with his publisher.
the publisher, not yet. His agent should be, the one talking to the publisher, saying, "Hey, we need the extension." The agent doesn't have any control over that.
Oh, how many books you two assholes wrote? Like y'all know anything.
Who talked to their agent about deadlines?
I assumed he was on the phone with his publisher. So when I was writing my notes, I wrote that, but then he said that he was on the phone with his agent. I had to go back and change my notes.
He was telling his agent what to tell the publisher.
I don't know if this movie's that smart.
No, but then he had to specify it was his literary agent in case you forgot that he's an author and he's writing a book.
Yeah, that he's already written 300 pages of it, so he's well on his way. And so
Y'all are just being dicks.
So he gets his extension, and in the chaos of him being on the phone, the kid disappears. So they don't know where'd Lonnie go? And Lonnie decided to just walk the fuck off into the woods.
Right.
As you do. For a family that's never seen woods before,
Yeah.
just gonna up and go out in them.
Yeah.
And
Wearing his dad's good church loafers. Just go out into the woods. The shoes on all these people.
Just inappropriate footwear.
yeah. Lonnie finds a cave, and of course he's gonna go in it. They make a point to point out that he's asthmatic,
Right.
which doesn't really come into play ever.
No, it's just
That's
just
his.
to ramp up his wiener cred.
It's only to make you hate him more.
Yes. So he scales the cliff face, the asthmatic wiener child that he is, to get up to the cave. And as he's looking in the cave, his mom calls him from what seems like a few feet away.
Right.
Yeah.
She's right off
That
camera.
was awful.
Lonnie, coming, Mom. After he just walked a mile into the woods.
Yeah, they make a point later of talking about how far away the bear cave is.
Yeah, it's not
the house.
close to the cabin. So
Maybe she walked out there, fellas.
Seems unlikely. I
as
love
he's
also you could see like this cave's supposed to be out in the wilderness somewhere, but you
Yeah.
can see these like steps
yeah
Yeah.
in the shot. That's
Yeah.
like clearly some kind of it's just a park somewhere.
yeah
Yeah.
Later on, and again, not to jump too far ahead, but later on, there's some more big rock formations, and there's like graffiti and people writing things on them, like
Yes.
everywhere.
Yeah.
This isn't out in the middle of the woods.
But nobody's lived there for 40 years.
So Lonnie scampers off, and there's some ominous growling from the cave.
Yep.
What could that be, folks?
See, okay, so I'm gonna contradict myself on the competence here because this pissed me off when he was like, the only way they're trying to build suspense in this scene is with the music,
Yeah,
and then only after Lonnie leaves do we get the growling.
yeah.
So, yeah. Nice try, asshole.
Well, that night, we're back with Charles, and he's sitting at his laptop, and he's actually struggling to write. He's got his head in his hands, and he just can't get it done. So he gets up, and he go get some nice gray water from the sink.
Boy, I noticed that.
Yeah, the water is opaque.
Yeah, it was filmed in Flint, Michigan.
So
all the liquids in this movie are
disgusting,
miscolored.
We'll just say suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he's having his refreshing drink of mop water, he hears a rumbling outside. Goes outside to find a tipped over trash can. And so he blames it on raccoons, and he says "daggone it,"
Yeah.
which I didn't care for, because it's doggone it or it's dadgummit.
Well,
That's the right ways to say that.
the subtitle said doggone it.
Even the subtitles agreed with me and said, "No, fuck you. I'm going to write what it actually supposed to be."
What bothered
That's
me
his
more,
go-to.
Yeah, it's his tagline. But,
That's his go-to curse word. Daggone it, because he says it about 5 times in the movie.
well, what bothered me the most about that scene wasn't that. It was the fact that he picked up his trash can and just left it in the middle of the yard. Like, who leaves their trash can just standing in the middle of the fucking yard?
I wrote that down too. Was
Like,
was
that's why
also
you
his
got
trash
raccoons,
can-
asshole, because you just put your garbage can out in the middle of your yard.
Was the trash can also like it was like a Rubbermaid?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't one of
Yeah.
those steel like loud ass trash cans.
No.
Yeah. It made noises like that, though.
Right.
It's those mecha raccoons.
Yeah. So, and again, we get an ominous growling. Something's watching him.
Right.
Next day, Linda, the mother, and the whole family. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but their last name is Bear,
Yeah.
because it's a papa bear, a mama bear, and a baby bear,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's the thing.
I got that too, and I
Yeah.
was immediately annoyed by it.
Yes.
Immediately annoyed.
So Mama Bear Linda comes home with some groceries, because she got up and went grocery shopping before breakfast, like
Right.
you do.
Yeah.
Dad, Charles walks downstairs just scratching his crotch,
Yeah.
clear as day,
Daggone it.
front and center. Daggone it.
Well, that's like the weird thing about this movie too, is that like up to this point it seems so like innocent.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
it's playing
Like,
it straight.
Yeah, but I mean also like Charles is like this wimp, and I don't know. They all seem like super wholesome and
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. That's how it's supposed to be, because that's why they don't curse until later.
Well,
Yeah.
look, you can be a nice guy all you want, but sometimes your nuts are going to itch.
Well, yeah, but
was
I mean like the movie takes on this weird like mean-spiritedness at some point.
Yeah.
Like anyway, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. So he comes down, and they're discussing the noises that happened last night,
Right.
and we get a brief glimpse of the freak
Yeah.
as he saunters by in a really close up frame.
It was like Signs whenever the handycam video from the little kid's birthday party.
Okay, that was way better than this.
No, I thought it was right on par.
I couldn't tell if this was bad CG or not. It was that bad.
No, it was just dude in suit.
Dude,
Yeah.
the dude might have even been in the suit. They might have just slung the suit in front of the frame.
Maybe.
They just put it on a hanger and like slid
Yeah.
it down a line down back there.
They put more effort into building a device to swing the suit down than building a Steadicam.
Right.
So while that happens, Lonnie comes up, and he comes down kind of grumbly, where he proclaims that he slept very crummy
Right.
because of this new place, and Linda just, again, seems put off by this whole movie-making experience. So Charles decides, oh, hey, Lonnie, how about you and me go and explore the woods while Mom slaves away in the kitchen?
Right.
And I think this is why she was so annoyed, because all she does in the first, third of this movie is cook breakfast on screen and then wash up on screen.
Yes. Can I throw out a few things about breakfast, please?
Yes.
Okay. First off, and I hope this isn't any of your questions, because this just bothered me, because this is the kind of things that stick to me. When he woke up, it was 9:45.
Yeah.
Okay. They have their conversation. They go out, and she says it's going to take half an hour for breakfast to be ready.
Yeah.
Well, when they are back, or while she's making breakfast, the clock above the sink says 12:30. So, what the fuck happened there, Linda? And the other thing that bothered me is nobody makes bacon that way. You don't just take a clump of bacon and throw it just willy-nilly in a pan.
You don't just wad it up in the pan and let it cook however it may?
Right. That bothered me. Like,
she's a terrible cook.
I don't know why that
That
bothered
becomes
me.
clear.
But as soon as I saw that bacon, I was like, what the fuck, Linda?
Yeah.
When I saw her serving up those dry ass scrambled eggs, I was like, Jesus, Linda.
Oh, and look, there's
Get your
plenty
egg game
other.
right.
I have opinions for every time Linda cooks, so we can don't worry.
Yeah.
So that's what grinded my gears during breakfast. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. So Mom's making
also,
breakfast.
why does it take a half hour to cook some scrambled eggs and bacon?
Well, whenever you roll them up into a fucking toilet paper ball and put it in a pan.
So while Mom's poorly making breakfast, Charles and Lonnie are out in the woods, and Lonnie dresses for his woods excursion like a 1920s street urchin. He's got those pantaloon shorts and a vest on, and those loafers. He needed one of those little newsy caps.
Yes,
and he would have been set,
Yeah.
and then covered in soot from working in the coal mines.
Right.
So they're out there, and Dad's gonna teach you how to throw a rock, not skip a rock.
Yeah.
Just flat out throw a rock. I'm gonna
To
teach
which
you
I
how
said,
to throw an
where were you
object."
for the first 10 years of this kid's life, Chuck? You just getting around to throwing the rock?
Well, we come to see why Charles isn't too enthusiastic to whip out his rock throwing abilities.
Yeah.
Because this is another thing where they just go extremely camp with it, and he winds up and the thing goes all of a foot.
Right.
And then Lonnie picks up a rock and he throws it a kilometer out into the creek.
Yeah.
To which Chuck goes, "Oh, who taught you how to throw? Mom did." But psh.
No, she didn't. That bitch never leaves the house.
So,
All she does is mess up meals.
This is cook entire packs of bacon in one wad.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least that's better than his dad being a complete embarrassment as a father.
That's why you got the asthma, because your mama don't know how to cook.
Well, they do establish that here that Chuck can't run very far without getting winded.
This is true.
Yeah, that's true.
He can't do much without getting winded. Lonnie decides to tell his dad that, I got a little secret. I found a bear cave when we got here. And his dad, other than saying, "What the fuck are you doing climbing around bear caves?" goes,
Yeah, don't mess with the bear cave.
Really? Let's go look.
Let's go look.
He's like, cool.
Fucking
So,
idiot.
They go to the cave, and they're poking around there, and Chuck decides, we got to get back. Your mom's gonna be done with breakfast.
Well, no, you missed a part, because the kid says, "Do you think bears are in there?" And Chuck says, "Well, let's go take a look."
That's true.
Which now I'm starting to think, I think Lonnie was adopted. Chuck and Linda regret the fact that they adopted this kid. So they really don't care whether he lives or dies by bears.
Charles is trying to get him ate by a bear.
Because if it's their own kid, then Linda had him when she was 55 years old.
So this Chuck says we got to go back. The kid starts whining, saying, "Oh, can't we stay here and go stay up here?" And she's like, "No, we got to get back. Your mom's gonna be done with breakfast." And this is the first instance where the closed captioning just gives the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because the kid says, "Well, somebody you're lying," and all it says is mumbling "you're lying" on the closed caption. I was like, "Yep, I didn't get any of that either." Closed captioning.
Nope.
So as they go walking away, Chuck unfortunately steps in a pile of shit with an audible fart noise when he does it.
Yeah, a little cartoon poot sound.
Just so you know, that was poo.
Yeah.
Another daggone it slips out, and then Lonnie exclaims, "Dad, you just stepped in a pile of shit." And he's more upset about his new shoes that he just got. Now, I'm going to point out he stepped in it with one foot.
Right.
Remember that, folks.
Yeah.
Continuity.
Yeah.
So we go back to Mom, and she's finished with breakfast, and she's washing up the dishes. She's washing up the knives that she used to pry the wad of bacon out of the bag.
That's another. Well, I was like, did she cut open the eggs? Like, what are you washing a knife for? You made eggs and bacon.
So as she's washing up at the sink, there's some, the tension music's building up. Something's gonna happen, and sure enough, it does. We get our first real glimpse of the field freak
Yeah.
as it gets levered up and smushed up against the window.
And that's when I realized this is the greatest movie that Garbage Theater has ever come to see. It looked like that time them two dudes said they killed Bigfoot and put the body in an ice chest.
Yeah.
It's the same costume they used.
Yeah. They just whack it up against the window to where the face of the mask like mushes into itself.
Yeah.
Mom freaks out, takes off running to run out of the house where the Bigfoot is,
Right.
Yeah.
throws open the front door, and Chuck and Lonnie are standing right there, and Chuck has a big cartoony reaction to the whole thing. And then we hard cut to some scarabs on a stick.
It's just some bugs for some reason.
Yeah.
So-
my notes say 3 beetles for some reason.
Yeah. Cut to scarabs to show the passage of time. So we go back, and Linda's calming down a bit, and Chuck's saying, "Well, maybe it was a possum."
Yeah.
And Lonnie points out, "Oh, there's an odd smell. What's that smell?" To which Lonnie clears all that up by saying, "Dad stepped in shit," and then
Yeah.
Mom slaps the piss out of him.
Yes.
Slaps the devil out of him.
Look, once again, nobody likes Lonnie in this movie.
This wasn't a little, "You better not talk like that again." This was a wind up, "I'm gonna knock your fucking head off" slap.
No, this is,
Yeah.
I've been drinking scotch for 4 hours and I'm out of Doritos, you little shit. And you're going to get it now.
Yeah, this is for me where the movie started to get dark.
Yeah. And Chuck doesn't react at all to this.
Well, no,
No.
it's normal.
Yeah,
So-
that's the thing. Is he a pussy or like is this normal?
Yeah.
I think it's both.
So they're talking, and they're talking about maybe it was a bear, and no, it wasn't a bear. I swear it wasn't a bear. I'll prove it to you. I'll call a pest control guy.
Well, that's what you
Not,
do.
not animal control. For a large animal, pest control.
Yeah.
But first, can we have breakfast? Oh, you rascals! That's exactly how that scene played out.
Yes.
It was a sitcom, oh, you guys, and then the laugh track comes in, and then the Leave It to Beaver song plays.
Yeah. Let me go get this earbud wire nest of bacon out of the pan and slap it on your plate.
But put your shoes outside because they stink.
Yeah.
So Chuck goes to put his shoes outside, and they're both caked in shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
he just stomped around in it after the initial step in.
It looks as if the shoes are excreting the dookie.
It's like the field freak ate the shoes and passed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he calls the pest control guy. They're going to come later that evening. So let's kill some time and go into town. Cue the frolicking music again.
Frolicking music.
Same exact track as before. In town, we see another dad being awesome to their kid.
Yeah.
This town is a nightmare.
There is no normal people in this movie. No one is normal.
It was the thing in Tom. It made me think of Tommy Boy, where Chris Farley's pretending to drive the cars. And he says, "I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy." "Not now, damn it!"
Yeah.
It was that level kind of thing.
Yeah. His little girl's like, "I want that toy." He's like, "I told you no. I'm gonna kill you."
So we established those people that never come back.
Yeah.
Then we move on to another guy, looking at himself in the reflection of a window, talking to himself about getting tickets to the gun show as he flexes his biceps.
Right.
So you know this guy's a real class act.
Yeah.
Just lots of great people in this town.
Yeah.
We cut over to Chuck and Lonnie sitting on a bench looking bored.
Right.
To which Chuck says, "Well, maybe letting Mom loose with the credit card wasn't a good idea, because women be shopping."
Going, 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 going.
So they went to town. They parked their asses on a bench and just let her go shop and just sat there for hours.
Pretty much.
Apparently.
Is that what happened?
Well, it's definitely the town to be people watching because it's nothing but assholes in this town.
Or Linda was just like, "I gotta get away from these two."
Yeah.
Probably so.
You two just sit there. I'll be back.
I don't care what you do. Just let me shop.
Yeah. So Linda eventually comes back. She's bought some things that she's very excited about. So let's get back because it's getting close to time for the. He's going to be here in about an hour, so we need to get back.
This entire segment is completely pointless.
Completely unnecessary. They could have just cut to some more scarabs and then back. We would have been good. So on the way home, well, we got to make a little stop first because there's a sign, hand-painted sign, pointing out that there's some root beer that you can come and get real close.
Yeah.
And Chuck says, "Ooh, I can't wait till you stop and get a taste of that sweet sarsaparilla." Is sarsaparilla and root beer the same thing?
They're similar. I think they're quite similar.
Is sarsaparilla an ingredient in root beer?
No.
I've never had sarsaparilla, so I can't comment. I just thought it was
Honestly,
odd.
like, I couldn't tell you the difference if I drank them side by side.
Isn't sarsaparilla like an old timey drink?
That's what they called it, like in the like in the old West.
Okay.
You can still find sarsaparilla, actually.
Nah.
But Chuck is like blowing his load over this sarsaparilla.
He's so excited. Mom, can I have 2? Lonnie, you can have 3.
Yeah.
So they pull up to the root beer distillery.
By the way, sarsaparilla is an ingredient in root beer.
Well, thank you.
Oh, all right.
I thought it was because they actually mention it later. But I just had to do the old Wikipedia, and yes, sarsaparilla is an ingredient in root beer.
Don't say you don't learn anything on this podcast, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this shit is
There you go.
educational.
So they pull up, to Perkins Family Root Beer, best in Duh County.
Yes.
And holy Jesus, this sign.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
And you know this character they're about to introduce is going to be goofy because of the funky music that's playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all jaw harp and harmonica.
Yeah.
So it's this new character, Ned Perkins, and he's hunched over a barrel of Presquarius liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
wash
bin.
It's got leaves floating in it. It's just it's not what I would think that you would make root beer in.
Nope.
And he's ladling it up. The family pulls up. They get out.
Does root beer need constant stirring?
I don't know. I mean, shouldn't it be carbonated?
He's just working it all the time with the ladle.
I also think you need better customer service if you're trying to sell root beer too.
Yeah. Ned also only has one leg to point out, and by
the
one
actor
leg,
had two legs, but the
actor has
character
two
had
legs
one leg.
because you see both legs many times in this movie.
Yes.
The family comes out, and we get another instance of closed captioning just saying "fuck it," because he says, "Oh, I got aged bears and the finest blah 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 you ever had."
Yeah.
Mumbling. Charles orders up 3, and as he's getting that situated, Ned asks him to grab those cups over there for me, and Lonnie starts walking up to get a little closer look at this root beer. Another slap.
He slaps the shit out of Lonnie. Which,
fuck out of here, tiny child.
This is why I'm saying Chuck is a pussy as well, because he just watched a man assault his adopted son. and what did he do?
Unfazed.
Beer sure is good.
Yeah,
He's
slaps those $3 down.
The mom at least pulls him into her and looks shocked. Charles,
no, she was trying to smother him.
Yeah, she was like, Ned's got the idea.
Yeah,
let's kill this kid.
So no one cares the kid was just slapped in the face. He pours out the root beer. It doesn't look good. Chuck's all about it though. It's delicious to him.
Right.
Yeah, this is so confusing to me. The root beer. I feel like we could spend a lot of time on the root beer. But so it's clear but kind of brown.
It's like tea.
But it's even more translucent than tea.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It's definitely not
junk floating.
It's dirty water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it was it's like coffee, but instead of grounds, it's mud.
Again, all the liquid in this movie.
Yeah.
So and then Charles says it's delicious. Other people later say it's delicious. It's impossible to know if this root beer is delicious or not.
Once again, everybody in this town is assholes, so they could just be saying it just to get more people to drink it.
Yeah. Ned asks him, are they new around here? And he said, yeah, we moved into the cabin up there. And he says, oh, that's not a good idea to be staying up there. And he tells a story about how when he was a kid, him and his family going out picking roots for the root beer. And he heard something growling, and it was the field freak. And it took Ned's leg. and here's where the field freak rhyme comes in.
Yes.
And it's like this is the Freddy's gonna get you of the movie.
Right.
And it's you better look out, you better hide. Field freak coming, so get inside. Oh, he's gonna bite your dick off.
Yeah.
This genuinely got me. I was laughing.
So
that had to be ad-libbed.
It's
He's gonna bite your dick off.
Because
bite your dick off.
it didn't rhyme. And
Most important.
It was going so well,
right.
for the first 2 bars, and then it just derailed, made a hard right turn.
Yeah, and this is also where the theme of everybody growling at this family starts.
Yeah. So he starts growling at the family. The family runs and gets in the car and takes off. And Ned's so upset about this, he tips over his precious root beer.
Right.
The family, they're driving away, and they stop to come to their senses, and Chuck Carls calms everybody down. He says, "No one's going to bite anyone's dick off,"
Yeah.
is what he tells his family.
Yeah.
In which they're
It's
talking
what they
about-
needed to hear. It's what they needed to hear right then.
Yeah. But they said that it ripped his leg off. He was probably just born that way.
Right.
We cleaned up that real tidy.
Yeah.
So we cut back home. Dad's sitting on the couch, applying his chapstick, and Mom and Lonnie are playing some kind of card game that consists of you just randomly turning over cards and putting them in random piles.
I couldn't decipher what they were up to. Charles is also reading. Did you notice the book he was reading? It's like the longest book in history. It's like 4,000 pages.
He's reading the phone book.
Yeah.
It looked like it.
The doorbell rings, and it's the pest control guy. And this is a character.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
This is another one where it's like, okay, are you intentionally being like a bad movie? What's going on? I'm confused with this. Because he comes in and he seems normal at first, and he starts like investigating the house, and Chuck's kind of like, oh, but it's not in the house. We haven't had any problems inside the house. And he's crawling around, and he finds a little piece of rat shit and starts sniffing it and licking it.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about he's going to add it to his collection. So
Yeah, motherfucker's got a shit collection.
We're off to the races with this guy already.
Yeah.
Charles points out that nothing happened in the house. It was out by that window that Linda had her experience.
Right.
So we're not even calling it up to seeing an animal. She had an experience. She had a moment.
Did you see what he did with the little nugget of shit when he got up to go see?
I didn't notice that. What did he do?
He just threw it back on the ground.
Oh, what about the collection?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it could be what his collection's missing.
Not only is it not going to the collection, but fuck you, I'm still putting your shit on your floor.
Yeah.
Like, you could have picked it up. I mean...
So they go outside. He checks the window by pressing his face to the wall of the house.
Right.
And decides you got beavers.
Yeah.
It's definitely beavers that are doing this. He charges them $900 for traps and bait.
Yeah.
To which Chuck just says, "Sure."
Yeah.
Okay.
He signs the fucking papers.
What do I know from beaver traps?
Yeah.
Was Jerry writing with his like offhand or something too? Like it's all
It's really...
it's all scratchy and weird.
Well, we already got the camera on this side of you. I'd hate to have to walk around to the other side.
Either that or
Just
the
write it with the
actor.
wrong hand.
The actor that portrayed Jerry is probably one of those people like, well, I don't want to use my real handwriting because somebody will copy it whenever this movie goes out. So let me write it with my left hand. Idiot.
So after Chuck signs up for this elaborate beaver trap, Jerry is the name of the pest control guy.
Right.
Just kind of casually brings up that no one's lived up here in Beaver Pelt Falls since old Ned's family was murdered, and he thinks beavers were behind that as well.
Right.
And he says, "Don't worry, I'm gonna come back in the morning and check the traps, and we'll get to the bottom of this beaver problem you're having."
Right.
That night, Charles, I got a lot. I got a lot to talk about in this little section here, this one little thing. So just let me get through it.
All right.
Charles Googles Ned Perkins murders, and he finds a newspaper clipping that's got a picture of Ned when he was a kid, and it's all about how, this family murdered and child only survivor kind of thing, and did the kid do it? And ooh. Now, if you pause the movie on the Google page and then look up at when he's looking at the newspaper clipping, you look up at the address bar. The address bar shows that he's looking at an email attachment.
Yeah. I got that too.
It's attachment.google user content. Ned newspaper graphic. Well, it's attachment Google user content, and then the tab behind that is Gmail, where it has an email open that says Ned newspaper graphic. And that just blew my mind.
Just keep that out of the shot.
Yeah.
Just don't put that in there. The fuck?
You can get it, crop that out a little bit. You have control of the camera.
Do they?
I don't know if they were thinking that.
In theory.
Who's going to look at the address bar? It's the first thing I did. When I saw that, I said, I want to see what that address bar says. And gold lie within.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking all over this article. I got a lot of info from this article.
Oh, go for it.
I found out, there's some stuff that doesn't come up till a little bit later, but we find out Ned was 11 at the time. That the event took place in 1950. And then, so the timeline is that, this is 40 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would make this 1990.
Yeah.
And not present day.
Yeah. Were people Googling stuff in 1990?
Obviously.
No.
It was in the
There's
movie.
there's a bunch of stuff in here that didn't exist in 1990.
Oh my god. Okay, so he finds that, he prints it out. I don't know why he prints it out.
Yeah, that was baffling.
Well, he prints it out because it's important to the plot later. We know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's no real reason for him to print this thing out. He could have just closed his laptop. Now, again, it's back to being that night. It's later that night. And when I say night, I mean it's a broad daylight shot with a monochrome blue filter over it.
Yes.
That's all the nighttime shots in this movie. We're not waiting. Magic hour, my ass. We're not waiting for shit.
We only got $9,000.
So the kid, Lonnie, he wakes up hearing noises. And I just want to point out that for as much of a wiener this kid is, he opens up his inhaler like a boss.
Yeah.
He rolls that thing around in one hand, pops the cap off with a thumb. I was impressed with that. Okay, kid. You got that down.
Whereas most people would spend time looking cool, like opening a lighter or like a butterfly knife.
Oh, yeah. He practiced that, and he's like, one day this is going to pay dividends with the ladies.
Yeah.
And he's got it down.
Hey, ladies,
Yeah.
you like asthmatics?
Yeah. You take my breath away.
Chuck comes in, and Lonnie asks him, Dad, do you think the field freak is real? He says, well, do you think the boogeyman is real?
Yeah, the
Emphasis
boogeyman.
Emphasis on the oogie. And while they're having this discussion, the field freak walks by in the background.
Yes.
So he calms the kid down, goes back to his bedroom, and when I say bedroom, I mean a box of 1 billion books.
Yeah.
Their bed
An absurd amount of books.
surrounded by billions of books,
Like, you
I
came...
floor to ceiling.
Yeah, you came to this cabin in a Honda CRV.
Right.
Where were all these books?
Yeah.
With
Where was
the
any
New
of the
York
stuff
Public
that they
Library in the back.
Right.
I mean, I know you only had $9,000, but it costs like $20 to rent a U-Haul trailer.
And look, they unpacked throughout the whole movie. They were unpacking.
Yeah, they're always unpacking. And then
Good
this poor woman,
Lord.
who does not want to be in this movie, is made to say the line, "Speaking of beavers."
Well, what's so funny is, and
Gross!
I know everybody saw it coming, but whenever they're talking about it, like, in my mind, I was like, she's gonna say, "Speaking of beavers," and when she said it, I was like, yes, she said it.
Old parents doing it. I'm just glad there wasn't a scene.
Well,
Yeah.
they did a little Forrest Gump callback in the next thing. I thought that was pretty good too.
Oh yeah. The next morning, he walks out on the porch, and his shitty shoes are gone.
Yeah.
They
His
leave
shit- wait,
two shit prints behind.
It's been 2 days, and they're just gonna leave those shit cake shoes on the porch forever for the whole 6 months they're out there.
The proper term would be his shitty shoes.
So Lonnie comes down, and once again he's looking tired. "Oh, Lonnie, didn't you sleep well?" To which he says that no, he was kept up by moaning in the night.
He heard the noises again, but this time more moaning.
No more moaning. But he's actually, what he says is, "No, I heard the noise again." Mumbles.
Yeah.
This is call out number 3 to Mumbles,
Right.
and that's when he mimes the moaning a la Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Gross again.
Right.
Gross.
Jerry
But
comes back.
Chuck and Linda kind of exchange a glance like, yeah, you
Yeah.
know what that was about.
We're trying to make a better you.
This part, Charles, he's looking for his shoes. He like asks Linda back in the house where his shoes are, and he says, "No, the old pair," where he just told us when they first got shit on him that they were his brand new shoes.
I didn't pick up on that.
Come on.
I didn't pick up on that. The only thing I said was, if you're trying to describe shoes, how about the ones that were caked in shit?
So at this point, Jerry comes back. He checks the traps. They're all empty. So he then exclaims in a very extreme angle that we're dealing with something a lot smarter here.
Yeah.
And then there's like a duck quack. It's like the camera's in his face and he's screaming at the camera, "We're dealing with something a lot smarter." In the background.
Because somebody said, you know what this scene needs?
Did somebody step on a duck?
Yeah.
So Chuck decides, I'm going to show Jerry the cave. So he takes him out to the cave, and the cave is covered in shit.
Right.
There's just piles of turds all over the place.
Again, Jerry's convinced it's beavers.
Yeah.
Charles then finds his shoes, and they're spotless.
Spotless.
So, are we to believe the field freak eats its own shit?
I don't know. You know who does eat its shit is Jerry.
Jerry. Yeah. Jerry would have licked them shoes clean, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because he immediately starts picking around in one of the piles and licking his fingers.
Yeah.
So, again, we cut back to Linda, and she's still unpacking. And the old freak is watching her. We get that look through the window again.
Right.
And so she hears something outside. She goes and she looks through the peephole, and there's nothing there. And then she continues looking through the peephole, and there's the freak.
Boom! Boom! We get a jump scare.
And he starts banging on the door, to which she responds by getting on all fours and crawling away.
Right.
So she gets to her phone and starts dialing the phone. But then the freak, as if propped up on a stick, goes bouncing by the window, which causes her to throw the phone across the room.
Yeah. The freak was just dragging his rubbery fingers across the glass. Yeah. Like that was as menacing as he wasn't banging on anything.
Just circling the house.
Yeah.
So the rest of them, and that's all that happens. That's the encounter.
Yeah.
We cut again. Scarabs for time. We're back, and they're all back home, and Jerry decides to tell this story, this frightening tale of a pack of beavers beating a woman to death with their tails.
Yeah.
And that she now walks with a limp, to which Linda recoils in horror.
Dear God.
And Jerry he's selling this story big time.
Oh, yeah.
He's all worked up about it, in tears almost. Saying that, you gotta protect your family. You gotta protect your child. That little old Mary guy. You gotta protect that little old Mary guy.
At this point, it's like unclear if Jerry's sincere about his fear of beavers or if he's just trying to rip him off super hard.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't sincere about the kid because then he proceeds to growl in the kid's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, after he gives them the brochure and they said, we're going to think about it, he walks out and traumatizes the kid on his way out.
I mean, gets in the kid's face and just starts screaming, growling at him. And once again, Chuck's like, that's a funny guy, isn't he? Like, what the hell, dude?
Well, he's an odd feller.
Yeah. People are verbally and physically assaulting your son.
So Linda wants to hire Jerry to do whatever this is. The new bill is $2,500.
Yeah.
To what? What is he going to do different than the first time?
Can I also just say you're an asshole for taking out the cost of things as questions? Dick.
Chuck says, we don't have that kind of money. And Linda says, well, we will when your book sells. Well, it hasn't sold yet, has it?
This is true.
We're 6 months away from this.
I mean...
This is day 4 of 6 months. So he says, you know what? Let's go out. Let's go out tonight, and we'll feel better.
Right.
So that night, they're coming home from getting a great steak. Chuck's all happy about this steak they just had. And he's talking about, maybe we should put some cameras up. And then Harry and the Hendersons happens.
Yes.
And the old freak runs out in front of the car. To which Chuck responds by getting out of the car and running after it.
As you do.
Which is completely out of character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abandoning his family. So he leaves for a while. Linda's freaking out. He comes back. Oh, it got away from me. I don't know what happened. But what was that? And so now they believe now. Because, Chuck's actually seen it. So then, we cut to the next scene. Fuck the beat up!
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I was getting hyped.
Yeah.
I was prepared to fuck the beat up.
An establishing shot of a gun store with this music playing over it that the song must be, I can only guess, is titled Fuck the Beat Up.
It actually is, because I always watch the credits all the way through just in case.
Yeah.
And, you see all the songs, and yes, that is the name of the song.
Well, there you go. While that's happening, old Ned is hiding behind a car, spying on the gun shop.
Yeah.
As he watches Chuck go in. And as Chuck goes in, the gun shop owner, who, surprise, surprise, is the gun show guy from earlier in town.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking with a customer casually about shooting some poor person in the dick.
Yes.
just trading dick shooting stories.
He just walks in, he says, and then I shot him in the dick, and they start laughing. And then the customer starts to leave and said, all right, I'll see you tomorrow for lasagna.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I'll tell you. Look, I frequent many gun stores, and that's just par for the course right there.
Discussing dick shots and then lasagna.
I assumed that they've
that's
done a
how it
lot of
happens.
research. Yeah.
So and we follow this customer. There's a shot solely dedicated to him leaving the shop where he tries to push open a pull-only door.
Right.
And looks dead at the camera when he does it. So I'm assuming that wasn't scripted.
And that's the problem with like bad comedy. You can't tell what's on purpose and what isn't.
Right.
So Charles goes up to the counter. He's in the market for a gun because there's a field freak on the loose.
Right.
So he immediately points out the AR,
Right.
which he says, this one's on sale today. I can give it to you for $14.95.
Here we go with the name and the prices again. I wrote down all these prices of things.
It ain't gonna be that. I've learned my lesson from season 1. So he says that's a little too much. What do you have for a few $100s? He said, well, we got a 12 gauge. So he gives him the 12 gauge, and then they go about, okay, well, I'll take this one. Well, let me go. Give me your ID. I got to run your background check. Why don't you shop around while I go and do this?
Yeah.
And then swanky music starts.
Yep.
And it's a little shopping around the gun store montage. For reasons. They just had to establish that they took time to run the background check.
Yeah, for realism.
So he comes back, background check went fine, and now they're just, shooting the shit. So you're new in town, and Chuck just ghosts him. No answer at all. And so he again tries to engage Chuck in conversation. You're like, what do you need this for? He said, oh, I need it for protection. Protection from what? What could possibly be out here? And he tries to pawn it off on bears. And like, oh, we don't get bears around here. And then he leans in to kissing distance with this guy and says, the field freak.
Which, once again, par for the course in a gun store. You always talk that close to people.
Yeah, you touch noses.
Yeah, it's for safety reasons.
Yeah, well, it's considered rude not to.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so Gun Show is, yucking it up at that statement. And to which Charles says, oh, my wife was almost attacked by him. Big shitting smile. Like, he's so happy about this.
Yeah.
So he sells him the gun, and he's insulted him the whole way out.
Gets laughed out the store.
Yeah. As he's walking out, Ned ambushes him and points out, a gun won't help, not against the field freak. And here's one of the scenes where you can clearly see Ned's leg.
Yeah.
So as they're having this discussion, Chuck invites Ned to dinner. And back at home, he's breaking this to Linda, and Linda ain't happy about this.
Right.
As any normal
that Ned guy
person would be.
Yeah. Not only because, he slapped the shit out of your son.
Yeah. You mean to tell me you invited that old root beerman over to dinner?
Little root beersman. So, and okay, way back to what you were saying about, the competency of this movie and how, how the shots were actually framed up. All the shots of people talking are from, like, the nipples up.
Yeah.
That's how they frame it. It's like mid-chest and their head, and then there's like 4 feet of negative space over their heads to the ceiling. Anytime there's 2 people talking to each other, that's how they frame it up. I'm just saying that.
All right, I'm an asshole.
So, while they're in the middle of arguing, the Doorbell rings. Charles lights up like Santa Claus is at the door. It's Ned. Goes and throws open the door, and Ned immediately starts darting his tongue at him like a lizard.
Yeah.
So Ned comes in, and he's like, "Oh, how'd you get up here? Did you take how'd you get all this way? Did you take a car?" And then, "No, I walked here 5 hours."
It took him fucking 5 hours.
He hobbled his ass 5 hours up there.
It's insane.
Which brings me to my second point about Linda and her cooking. He must have started walking right when he left the gun shop for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So Linda had 5 hours to make dinner.
Yeah.
Everybody was eating peas and bread.
It was
And
peas
root beer.
and white bread. Yeah.
Yeah, and root beer that the dude brought.
Yeah.
You had 5 hours, Linda.
Well,
And then they
Ned
showed her
gets
cutting an onion, and I immediately became infuriated.
Yeah. She prefers her onion, paper on.
It was just like, what are you doing? It didn't even make sense.
well, not only that, Ned gets there, and he brought some root beer for him to drink, which Chuck's just so thrilled about. But Linda still needs time to finish dinner, so they go outside and start looking for the field freak while she's finishing.
Yeah, once
So
again,
she
you had
needed-
5 hours, Linda.
While they're outside, they find a lock of hair.
Just delicately
the
placed
field
on the
freak.
windowsill.
Yeah, yeah. And so Ned's looking at that, and then goes into fits,
Yeah.
where he starts howling and then just going, "Blah, blah, 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 blah. Come on out here, motherfucker!"
Yeah.
Did I
the
mention
scene.
how awesome Ned is?
So after that, we go back inside and they're eating dinner. Ned is screaming at Linda that he wants all them peas.
Right.
Have some more peas, please? And he gives him a scoop. No, all the peas. I want all them peas.
I walked 5 hours over here, and you put peas on on this table. I'm eating all of them, bitch.
Yeah. Then he starts, telling the story about how his family died. And he says that, the field freak got him. They were out picking those root beer roots, as he calls them. Daddy, it smashed Daddy's head in with a boulder, and it tore his mama in half, and ripped his leg off. And then, Linda's not buying it, and pisses Ned off, to which we have our fourth iteration of mumbling in the closed captions, where what he says is, "You think a pterodactyl did this to my leg."
Yeah, but they didn't know
But
what he
closed
said.
captioning just couldn't pull pterodactyl out of that. It's, "You think a mumbling did this to my leg."
Yeah.
And he's all pissed off. And he's, "I'm getting the fuck out of here. By the way, lady, your peas taste like piss."
Yeah.
Then there's some more mumbling as he's walking away, hobbling away, and he falls flat on his face. Poor Ned.
And dies.
And dies.
I genuinely thought he was dead.
And what we've glossed over is, you had 5 hours, Linda. You made peas, and you still messed it up.
Yeah. Ned was hungry, and now he's dead.
Yeah. He's
'Cause you
famished.
pissed in
That's
the
why he
peas.
fell over.
So that it's like it's night out now, and Chuck's in his car with Ned. He's gonna drive him home. Ned's all bloodied from falling on the floor, and daggone it, the car won't start.
Right.
So Ned's gonna have to stay there, which pleases Linda to no end. He's gonna sleep on the couch. He's in Lonnie's room, isn't
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I was
like,
confused about
once
that.
again, they want this kid to die. Like, they're still not convinced that this guy isn't a murderer. Oh, but let's let him
only
sleep.
Chuck knows that.
Yeah,
only
let's
Chuck
let him
knows
sleep
that right
head
now.
to head with our son.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Linda says out loud in earshot of Ned that she doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
So the perfect place for a man that you don't trust is in your child's room.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happens that night? Well, we show Lonnie sleeping peacefully, and then Ned's hand slaps down over his mouth,
Yeah.
startling the child awake.
Which, really, when you say what happened that night, really nothing happened that night other than Ned fucking with that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ned does that. The kid wakes up and says, "Was it the field freak?" And Ned says, "Yeah, the field freak was here. Now go back to sleep."
Yeah, but he's gone now. Then why'd you wake me up?
Yeah. That was amazing.
So then the next day, Linda finds the newspaper clipping of Ned that Charles printed out for reason. This is why he printed it out, so that she could find it and we could move the plot along.
Right.
So she's all freaking out that, you know, this person might have killed his family. Chuck's like, no, it was the freak. To which Linda drops the first F-bomb of this family. Mm-hmm. Are you out of your fucking mind? And gee whiz, the language.
Right.
And Chuck's just offended. And then they realize that, you know, Lonnie is out with Ned. They just absconded out into the woods again. And, you know, what's going on? He could be killing him. And then the door flings open. And Ned and Lonnie come in, and Lonnie's covered in blood, and Ned's shaking a knife at him.
Right.
You know, as you enter a room.
I always try to enter a room with a bloodied companion.
Brandishing a knife. So Ned
That's
comes
my
in and
move,
says,
Ned. Back off.
Ned comes in and says, "Oh, they were out fishing. Look at all the fish we got." And, "Oh, little Lonnie's just covered in blood because he would bash their heads in."
Yeah.
Oh, and there you go.
They were just having a good
tidied
old,
up nicely.
a good old time getting Smeagol out there.
So Linda secretly calls Jerry and hires him for the job.
Right.
We'll do it because this is getting old. Ned and Charles.
This is getting
go
old,
out-
and this movie needs to end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ned and Charles once again leave everybody behind, and they're out walking, and they find a conveniently placed stump with some field freak piss on it.
Right.
I don't understand how you spot piss
Ned
on a
spotted
stump.
piss from a distance.
Well,
Charles, what's that over there?
Chuck's like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's field
To
freak
which
piss.
I said was a stump, and then Ned corrected me and said it was field freak piss.
Yeah. This is either field freak piss or your wife's peas.
Ned also gets like bothered by a branch, calls it a mother.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie right there.
At this point, I'm genuinely loving Ned. Like, he's my dude now.
Yeah. So back at the house, Lonnie is wanting to play games on his dad's laptop, and he can't get into it because his dad has his book open, and he doesn't want to mess it up. So he's trying to get Linda to go in there and close it out so he can play his games. And so she goes in there, and we get to see what old Chuck's been up to writing. And it's an open Word document, and all it says is, "I don't know what to write, FML."
Yeah.
So this is where I'm like, okay, they're going to go a Jack Torrance kind of route with this, where he's kind of crazy because he's making these wild claims that he's halfway done and all this stuff. And he's just too goddamn chipper. So
Right.
he's crazy, clearly, right? It's going to be a Shining thing, right?
I was hoping for some kind of mystery, you know?
No, they actually did call to The Shining at the end.
But,
Yeah, they did.
what?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Okay, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
But, yeah, so she's upset about that. Jerry arrives, and he's going to go do Jerry things. Mm-hmm. And then the upbeat music kicks in, as the closed captioning tells us. And Jerry has a Batman gearing up montage.
Right.
There's a quote unquote funny montage.
And at the end of this montage of him gearing up, he puts a secret item into one of his cargo shorts pockets.
Yeah. Actually, in my notes it says Jerry gathered supplies and a secret.
And it'll pay off later, folks.
I have a note at this point where I'm like, is anyone ever gonna get killed in this thing?
The answer is no.
No.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So we then switch over from the upbeat music to the foreboding music.
Yeah.
And Jerry's making his way through these rock formations that are littered with, like, people's names.
Wait, before that,
yeah,
he's going through the woods, and he's using the machete first. And then he pulls out a whip and starts whipping the
He's
forest
whipping
around
the weeds
him.
away.
Yeah. In my notes, it says, dude is literally whipping through the forest.
Yeah, after he whips his way through the underbrush, he climbs up to the cave. He's going through all the rocks. There's graffiti everywhere. He then seems to get hit in the face with his own hat.
Oh, this was okay. This was insane. This was another.
I was
fuck me
confused
for saying that this was competent, because it's like the shot was supposed to be the Field Freak's POV, but you're like right in Jerry's face.
Oh, I
and
didn't
then he
get
gets
that.
knocked out.
Okay. That makes much more sense.
But like, how did he not see? If it was indeed,
But that's the thing, because it was a long shot.
yeah,
It couldn't have been it turns POV in the last quarter of that camera cut.
right.
Yeah, see, I was confused by that. I didn't really know what happened.
There's no scenario in
It
this
looks
shot where he
like
couldn't have seen the Field Freak before it hit him.
Yeah, he turns towards the camera and just kind of rocks his head back and falls over. Nothing like hits him.
Also,
Like his hat falls off, and that's why it looked like his hat hit him in the face.
yeah. Also, just throughout this little cave thing, just haphazard plops of poo.
Yeah,
throughout everywhere.
just Dookie's laying all over the place. He's also got his flashlight out, and it's like an open air cave. There's plenty of light pouring in, and he's just like.
Also, I don't know if it's at that point, but definitely other points when they're in the cave, you can clearly see the trail out of the cave system. Like, they didn't even have to go through the big whole cave opening thing.
Yeah.
You know? There was clearly just a little goat trail heading out.
They weren't
Like
prepared
where
to
the
shoot
Persian-
in low light situations.
Yeah, it's where the Persians came to get behind the Spartans. Like, you can see it. It's right there.
It's the hot gates.
Yeah.
So we go back. They're having dinner with the fish that Ned catches.
Right.
There's some potty humor.
Right.
Yeah, this entire scene is about Ned farting.
Which, once again, gotta love Ned.
yeah. Ned's a fucking boss.
Not only am I gonna disrespect your household, but let me cock up my non-existent leg and let one rip at the table.
So, again, Linda, not amused. She's pissed off at Charles about him and his new best friend, Ned.
Well, yeah, she's 8 scotches in at this point.
So Ned's going to go outside, and Charles says, I'll meet you outside in a minute. I got to smooth things over. By smooth things over, he sticks his hands in her back pockets and scratches her ass.
Yeah. You want to talk about them beavers again?
So she's pissed. Charles goes outside, and him and Ned are drinking that swill of root beer. And Ned starts talking about how he had a girlfriend once, and he caught her doing it with his best friend in his root beer garden.
Yeah. Yeah, my notes say Root beer garden ?
So, while that's happening, Linda decides she's going to go for a dip in the pool.
Yeah.
So she's out there just floating around on a raft, and then the freak strikes again.
By the way, that raft was filthy.
Well, it's been there for 40 years.
Whatever
they took it with
relative
them.
of the director that owned this cabin, he needs to wash his damn raft.
Yeah. So the field freak comes in. He flips her over. She starts screaming and getting out of the pool. Charles goes and gets the shotgun, and that's when that clumsy shot. He comes out, just gawk, turning around, and then randomly shoots diagonally into the air.
Right.
Which again, I don't think that might not have been scripted. He might have accidentally let off an actual shot.
Like he just accidentally discharged the shotgun and well, we might as well leave it in the movie.
While he's out there looking, Linda comes running out with the kid, and she's got a bag packed already. She packed that bag days ago.
Yeah,
And she's already changed her clothes.
And she's bone dry. She's
She's
So
super
she's
warm.
leaving with the kid. And Charles is behind her, saying, "No, where are you going? You got to stay here." And she turns around and rocks him with the wombo combo.
Oh yeah.
Just drops him.
I thought
Gets
she
in
was.
the car.
I can't even talk. I thought she was about to do the Stone Cold Stunner. Like after, like as soon as he folded up, I was like, "Here it comes!" But
So they get in the car. They take off. He runs after him. He gets about 10 steps and winded, doubles over.
right,
As they're driving away, Lonnie's talking to his mom. "You guys gonna get a divorce now?" Like, no, your daddy. He's difficult sometimes, and we need some time to deal with this. And then the car stalls because remember it didn't start the other
Right.
night trying to bring Ned home. Stalls out.
which
and
can
as-
let me interject. Obviously, there was a starter issue when Chuck was trying to start it that night. Well, once the car started, the starter isn't going to stop it from working anymore because the car started. That's all I got. And also, when she peeled away from the house, she put the vehicle in gear twice. So
the important details.
yes, these are the things I notice.
Yeah.
Cooking habits and car shit. And I had all kind of notes in the gun shop too, but I just felt like I didn't need to go through it.
So, while she's having a conniption in the front seat,
Yeah.
there's a reverse shot of Lonnie, and in the far distance through the rear window, you see the freak coming,
That's right.
and it's this big brown garbage bag of a costume.
It looks like the costume from that Twilight Zone episode, The Terror at
Yeah.
20,000 Feet.
It's so loose and baggy and floppy.
Yeah, it's just a fur bag that some guy stepped into.
Yeah.
I watched that Twilight Zone episode recently for the first time. I always hear about it, you see clips of it, but I never watched
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I watched it a couple weeks ago. And I was sitting there laying in bed, and I turned over to my wife, and I was like, "That's some freaky shit." It blew my mind.
So the freak gets up to the car, throws open the door, drags out Linda. She screams at to Lonnie to run and get away
Right.
as the freak absconds with her.
Can real quick when she's breaking down and crying in the car,
Yeah.
the subtitles said, "I miss my tail parties."
Right.
Yeah.
The fuck is a tail party?
I looked
think
it up
she
and I
meant to
couldn't
say
find
cocktail parties.
it. Maybe because I looked up tail party and I was fully expecting to see something that I couldn't unsee.
Yeah, I was like, is Linda a furry?
Right. Because that's what started coming up was furry stuff. But, yeah, anyway. There's no definitive thing on what a tail party is.
Okay.
Sarsaparilla is in root beer. The jury's out on tail party.
Yeah. Tail parties, question mark?
Yeah, it's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
So back at the house, Charles is boozing it up.
Crying like a bitch.
He's off the root beer. he's down in a bottle. And that's that scene, just to show you that he's distraught.
Yeah.
Then we cut back and we find Linda and Jerry in Shit Alley.
I love these shots were so fucking weird to me. It's like Linda's in the background and the shit is the real focus of the shot.
The copious piles of shit around Linda and Jerry's unconscious bodies. Somebody get the freak some Imodium.
Yeah. This dude's got gastro problems, man.
I don't know why, though. He ain't eating anything.
Oh, God. So, Ned and Charles are out walking yet again, talking about revenge, getting revenge on the field freak, when Charles spots Lonnie running down the road alone.
Right.
And they embrace, and Lonnie's all choked up and saying how, the freak took Mom. And Ned and Chuck's just like, why would he just take her like that? And Ned clears that one up because he wants to breed with her.
Yes.
So now we're going to a humanoids from the deep kind of situation.
Well, by the way, that is a thing. Let me bring in my Bigfoot research.
Oh, Jesus.
There's stories that Sasquatches will take forest brides, and it's human women that they bring with them into the woods. Y'all laugh, but this is serious shit.
No, I'm thoroughly aroused.
I wedded the skunk ape.
Well, actually, Bobcat Goldthwait has a Bigfoot movie, and a big part of it is the forest bride phenomenon. But anyway,
this movie's using all the most up-to-date Sasquatch research.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's what that $9,000 went.
Yeah,
to the research.
Right.
We cut back to Jerry and Linda, and they both come out of their unconscious states. And Jerry starts screaming at Linda that she needs to go. She needs to get out of here and save herself. And she's like, no, I can't leave you behind by yourself. To which Jerry points out that he ripped my legs off and then placed them 1 inch away from the stumps perfectly back where they were.
Exactly.
And somehow he hasn't bled to death.
No. Then here comes the freak. Comes back in and starts pawing at Linda.
Trying to get at them titties.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the director told the guy in the freak costume, try to get one out.
And this was the only time that Linda was interested in being in this movie. She felt young again.
Yeah. Finally, somebody's pawing at me again.
Yeah. No longer am I the Hausfrau. I'm the sex symbol.
Yeah. So Jerry starts screaming at the freak to get off of her, and it then switches attention to Jerry and rips his legs off.
Yes.
I didn't understand that at all. Were they just
his
like
legs are already off?
Were they hanging by tendons or something? And
Which is this is quite the accomplishment for the field freak, considering it can't close its hands. Because that's what I noticed. This thing can't move its hands.
It just scoops the legs up.
Yeah.
Open palmed.
Right.
And Jerry screams in pain. And then Linda gets up and runs off as Jerry Stumpy Jerry is doing battle with the freak.
Right.
Well, he's just getting the shit kicked out of him by the freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you're really starting to get some good shots of the Field Freak costume.
Yeah.
And it really is like somebody took the upholstery off a couch and just wrapped it around a person.
Oh, it's bad.
Like
it's old
too
shag carpeting.
Yeah. It's wide in places where it shouldn't be, and it's just
it's the gorilla suit you get from Party City.
Yeah.
With a different head on it.
It's not something you hang on frame for very long.
No.
Yet they do.
Oh yeah, they do.
So we go back, and Ned and Charles are planning on what to do, and Ned's rushing Charles along. You better hurry up, because he's going to tear that ass up.
Yeah.
Ned's rooting for the freak now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when Chuck, finally, they think, oh, maybe he's at the cave. Shit cave.
Yeah.
Down by Shit Alley.
Right.
So that's when he has his Monster Squad moment where he says, "I'm getting Mom back," and he cocks the shotgun.
Right.
And so he runs off, and Lonnie's upset. So he consoles in his new friend Ned, who holds him close. It's like, okay, yeah, I got you, kid. You okay now, Lonnie? Pow again.
Yeah.
Psych! I'm gonna hit you.
So he backhands Lonnie and knocks him down, crying. And this is where I thought, oh, they're going to do an interesting twist where Ned actually is homicidal and crazy.
Right.
And while Chuck's out dealing with the Field Freak, something's going to happen back here. When Chuck comes back, he's going to have to deal with this. Did they do that?
No.
Nope.
No, sir.
Just another excuse to smack that kid around.
Yeah.
right.
This is the point where I have to write down, like, is this supposed to be funny at this point?
Yeah,
Is Lonnie's abuse supposed to be a running gag?
That's what I meant about this. You've got to commit
Yeah.
or don't, because it's not clear if it's supposed to be funny that this kid's getting beaten all the time.
Yeah, I mean, generally, child abuse isn't funny.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there are instances.
Yeah.
there's a rare case here and there.
Yeah. Like, look, Mommy Dearest, that's hilarious.
So Chuck finds Linda out in the woods, and they make it back to the house. But Linda informs Chuck that, Jerry's still back there and he's still alive, which, that's a stretch considering the situation she left him in.
Exactly.
So she sends Chuck back to go and get Gary. And as he's running, now, he's running across the yard of the house, which is a wide open area.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running in a straight line and gets clotheslined by the Field Freak.
Yeah.
As if he didn't see it standing there in the middle of the open
It was
yard.
behind a tree.
Was it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Nah.
He's also running off without the shotgun. Like, he had it,
Well,
and then he put it down.
well, didn't... I thought he had it, and when it clotheslined him, he dropped it.
No, he left it by the porch.
Well, okay. Bad on you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
He gets clotheslined by the freak, and it starts slapping him with his rubber hands.
Right.
And now Ned's gonna step up, and he starts screaming at Lonnie to go get the gun. So Lonnie gets the gun, but then he tells Lonnie to go get some duct tape because the gun isn't enough.
Right.
So as Charles is being beaten silly by a Sasquatch, Lonnie is helping Ned duct tape a shotgun to his stump for reasons.
Because probably Planet Terror came out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which you also have to remember, Ned's the same guy that said a gun can't stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets the gun taped to his stump and starts hobbling back out there. Charles gets on all fours and manages to scramble away a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Then he got winded.
Yeah. And that's when Ned closes the distance and calls out the Field Freak. And this is where there's this shot where the camera's behind Ned and the cameraman seems to like roll his ankle or something,
Right.
Because it cocks to like a Dutch angle and then pans up to the sky and holds there for a good 5 seconds.
Right.
There's nothing going on.
It's a reference to Rashomon.
It's called art.
It's called craft. So this is where they have the good, bad, and the ugly stand like showdown with the wide angles, and the wide angles juxtaposed to the extreme close-ups, Leoneing the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
So, and they got a snare drum playing in the background. There's some more mumbles, and the freak finally comes out, and there's a little Predator callback, but a little more of a G-rated one.
Yeah.
Where Ned says, "You're one ugly son of a bitch."
Right.
And then they do an extreme close-up of the face of the field freak, which they really didn't need to do.
They should not have done this.
Yeah.
That didn't help their cause at all.
No.
Well, they had like painted over the eyes of the mask or something
To
with
make
like,
them look more menacing.
like bloodshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a regular gorilla mask, it just ain't going to be threatening enough. So there's a couple back and forth shots of that. There's the shot of Ned's hand on the trigger of the shotgun, and then Ned lets out his one-liner, his badass climax one-liner. "I'ma pump you full of stump."
God damn it!
Swings up his stump and shoots, and they do the thing that they did. What was that movie with Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones where they were the bomb people?
Oh, Arlington Road? No, Speed. No,
No,
Arlington Road.
no, it wasn't that. It was where Jeff Bridges was the cop and Tommy Lee Jones was the Irish terrorist.
Oh, Crocodile Dundee 2.
Oh my God. They do the thing where it's one thing, it's one shot, but they replay it about 19 times.
Oh, you
just
mean
to
like
drive home?
You mean like in The Omen when that dude gets his head cut off?
Yeah. God, I can't. There's that movie. It had the biggest explosion in movie history. Actual explosion. It was a big deal, and they blew up a ship, and they showed it from like 19 different angles, and it was ridiculous. They do that.
Isn't Tommy Lee Jones? Well, we're gonna have to get to the bottom of this later.
Break into Electric Boogaloo.
No. Moving on.
Okay.
Ned shoots the freak. There's a little squib,
Yeah.
and
Turns out guns can stop him.
guns can't stop them quite readily.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one bullet, one shell.
Yeah, one shell. The freak goes down. That's for my mama, my daddy, and my leg.
That's right.
And then Linda comes running up, and I had to have this pointed out to me by a third party, but it looks like she shit her pants.
Yes. I noticed. Because
I had to go back and look.
first thing I thought
there's
was, well, that's unfortunate.
There's a perfectly round brown stain on her ass.
Well, given this, how much this movie digs on poop, it's probably on purpose.
Yeah. So the family embraces. Everything's good. Ned is like, he's jumping up and down. He's so happy that the freak's dead. He got his revenge.
Yeah.
Doing a jig.
So we cut back to Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And he's laying there bleeding out. And this is where I start saying, no. No, 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 no,
Yep,
no,
yep,
no,
yep.
no, no.
It's happening.
Don't you goddamn dare do this to me, movie.
And they do it.
And they do it. Because Jerry comes to and he sits up with his bloody stumps, which he hasn't died from. And in the foreground, a little furry critter kind of approaches. And, oh, God. And it's a beaver.
Yep.
It's one of the goddamn beavers that Jerry's obsessed with because we had to do this for some reason. So Jerry reaches down into his cargo shorts.
The
and
secret.
He pulls out that secret surprise, which is the most plastic-looking grenade I've ever seen.
It's got some kind of electronic timer on it for some
I was
reason.
about to say.
He pulls out the pin and throws it at the beaver, and it's got a blinking red light on it.
Grenades do not have LEDs. They don't have beeping sounds. They don't have any of these things.
They don't explode into cheap After Effects explosions either.
No. They're shrapnel makers, not incendiary things.
It blows up in a little crappy mushroom cloud overlaid over the shot, and there's that cartoony beaver chuckle
Yeah.
is played.
Like from
It's like the Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
And then the song started playing. The caddy started.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, and because we had to do that scene for some reason.
It was necessary, Chase.
Oh. So we jump ahead in time. More scarabs. We're now at a bookstore in a completely dead strip mall.
Yes.
The only thing that survived in this strip mall was a brick and mortar bookstore. What are the odds?
Yeah.
So we go inside, and Charles is having a book signing, and
The saddest book signing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
you can tell he's back to being a successful author because he's got a crushed velvet ascot on.
Yeah.
And a line of what must be 3 or 4 people.
Threes of people. And he wrote a book called The Legend of Beaver Pelt Falls about their harrowing experience.
Yeah.
And a whole cornucopia of people come by that I didn't have the energy left to record who they were. Do you guys know who they were?
Yeah.
Yes.
So go for it.
Every one of them. William, Lyndon, and Stormy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I
Now-
remember the middle one was like some big-haired person.
Yeah, that'd be Lyndon.
Yeah, the little kid.
William was
to know,
the stoop.
He wanted to
Go
know
ahead.
if the field freak was real.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
There was
let me
the
blow
super-
y'all's
super
mind
thing.
for a second. Let me really blow y'all's
Okay.
mind.
All right.
Did we really go forward in time? Or is the book just a story that he just made up? So the movie we watched is actually just the fake story that he wrote about the little town that he went and stayed in to write the book.
Don't try to get deep with this.
Dude, that's what I got. Because everybody's so happy and they never mention it. Like, they never mention about how, oh, we almost died. No, Ned's like talking about how he was goosing Linda on the side. So that must have happened. Everybody's happy about their legs being missing. So, I mean, they must have been, that just must have been life before. So I think that Chuck went to this town to write the book, actually went and got some tasty root beer from a guy named Ned, and they had a pest problem with raccoons. He met Jerry, and he decided, oh, I'm going to make this book, and I'm going to include y'all in it. And the field freak...
I don't want to give this movie that credit.
Dude, that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
I don't think that works.
Go back and watch that scene again with that in mind.
I am never watching this movie again.
I'm just saying.
It's an interesting theory, but
Yeah, I'll give you that,
not so
but
sure.
I'm not giving him that credit.
No, the whole thing never happened.
Yeah. So, after Stormy, the moody goth girl, gets her book signed, the next person in line is old Ned.
Yeah.
Just as chipper as can be.
hot damn.
And he's got his new business associate, Jerry, with him.
Who's
Yeah.
still
Now
alive?
Yeah, still alive in a wheelchair now.
Okay, so all right, Jerry is miraculous.
No, Jerry's legs were never there in the first place.
He survived getting his legs ripped off. And somehow he survived the shrapnel of that grenade.
Yeah.
There was no grenade.
You know what? All right, I'm starting to buy it.
So they're talking about how happy they are and how successful they all are now with the Perkins family root beer.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, okay, well, we got to get out of here. And they're starting to leave, and they make a flat tire joke because, he's in a wheelchair now. Ha, 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 ha.
Once again, would people be this happy after being attacked and mauled and dismembered by a mythical creature? None of this happened.
But they all survived.
As they're walking,
because nobody fucking dies in this movie.
no one died. Not a single person dies in this movie.
That's how you can explain how crappy the monster looked. Because it was all just in a book.
Well, as they're walking out the door, one of them, I want to say it was Jerry, calls back to Linda and says that, I'll see you later tonight.
No, it was Ned. That's
It was
what I was
Ned.
saying.
It was Ned?
They
Okay.
alluded to that they were goosing before.
Yeah.
So that must have been happening when Chuck was writing his book feverishly.
Yeah, because Chuck then looks up to her and says, what was that about? She's like, oh, don't worry about it.
You simple idiot.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the exterior of the bookshop, a good 200 yards away from the bookshop, and Jerry and Ned come out and hobble their way across the empty parking lot towards the camera, to where they then meet the camera, split, jump up in the air, and freeze frame.
Yep.
we get the Breakfast Club freeze frame.
Yeah. End of movie.
I loved that shot. They're like, they come out of that store, they're just laughing like maniacs.
Yeah, because they were having a shitty existence until this dude came by to write a book. And then all of a sudden, people started buying the book and they were interested in his root beer. So now he can sell his root beer everywhere, all off of a fake story.
Hey,
Oh my God.
it's valid.
I refuse
it's
to
a valid theory.
When did Ned have time to have sex with Linda?
Well, but while Ned was, or while Chuck was working on the book, the actual book.
The actual one, after the events actually played out.
No, sir. No. Nothing in this movie happened. Let's get to these.
some
Let's
things
get to these
happened.
damn questions.
At least 5 things happened, because we got to do some questions now.
Yeah.
All right. So you know how this works, folks. If you're just joining us for season 2, I'll explain it. Garbage Theater is basically a contest to see who can pay attention to these piece of shit movies as much as possible. I will be asking 5 questions based on events from the movie that Blake and John will have to answer, and whoever gets the most right wins, and the movie that they picked in the previous episode of Coming Attractions is what we watch next. They get to moderate and pick the questions, and I will be going up against the loser of tonight. So, without further ado, let's get to the questions.
Oh boy.
I've got 9 I can choose from. It's going to be five questions. So I've got plenty for tiebreakers if need be.
Okay.
So, in no particular, they're not in any chronological order, so I'm going to be jumping around.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right.
Question 1. What does the needlepoint that Linda hangs up in the house say? Question 2. What vintage was the root beer that Ned brought to dinner?
Fuck.
Oh no.
Question 3. What was the address to the cabin? Question 4. According to the sign, how far away was the root beer distillery? And the final question. In Jerry's gearing up montage, he equips 6 items before secretly stashing away a hand grenade. Name 4 of the 6 items.
I think I'm in pretty good shape. I'm upset about the vintage. The needlepoint, I've looked at it twice, and I didn't write it down, but I think I remember it. Everything else I got.
All right, well, pencils down, gentlemen.
Shit.
So, question number 1. What did the needlepoint say?
Welcome,
Who's going
friends.
first? I put welcome home.
It is welcome, friends.
Shit.
Yes.
John's up by 1. Question 2. What vintage was the root beer that Ned brought to dinner?
I just put 1982.
Yeah, I put 85.
1992.
Damn.
2 years after this movie takes place.
No, because nothing in the movie happened.
Okay. So nobody got that one.
No.
John's still up by 1. What is the address of the cabin?
3241 Hickory Lane.
Shit. I got Hickory Lane, but I didn't know the number.
It's 3241 Hickory Lane. We're all tied up.
Oh, man.
According to the sign, how far away was the root beer distillery?
Quarter mile.
Quarter mile.
Quarter mile. It's 2-2. We're tied up. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Jerry's gearing up montage. Equips 6 items. Name 4 that aren't the hand grenade.
Can you do it, John? Because I can name all of them.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I can't. I got whip and machete, and that's all I got.
Water bottle, machete, whip, flashlight, tape, binoculars, alcohol, and the secret.
There you go. We're continuing with our great North American ape.
AKA.
Oh, John. I know you wanted to watch that movie.
I wanted it so bad.
And now it's out of the running forever.
It's out of the running for the entire season.
You're using your notes for this.
No!
There's no way.
Dude, no. I would not do that. Because, listen, let me tell you something. As soon as he started gearing up, I said, Chase is going to want a couple of these. I knew. So,
I was debating even using that question because I was going to use that as the tiebreaker if it was a tie. You want to, just for shits and giggles, you want the other questions?
yeah, but first let me you want to know how I remembered the supplies?
Yeah.
Because I made a song.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Water bottle, machete, whip, and flashlight.
I'm so mad. I wrote down the address. I just didn't remember the number.
Well, let's hear the other ones because I'm ready to go.
Okay, just for fun. When Charles is asking his agent for a deadline extension, what month does he ask it to be extended to?
October.
Yep. What was Ned's father's name?
His
Preston.
father's name was Yeah, it was Preston.
Preston.
I
Yeah.
remembered. I remember the great granddaddy was Willie.
Yeah. This one I couldn't use because it was brought up. How old was Ned when his family was killed?
Ah, yeah, we did say that.
And then how many stores now sell Ned's root beer?
25.
25.
We were
Good.
pretty matched up. Pretty matched
Pretty
up.
matched up.
Yep.
It was just the address and what was the other one? The vintage. The vintage through both
The
of them.
vintage.
Yeah.
I bought this in 1992.
I also remembered all the names of the shops.
I didn't go that far.
The gun shop was B&B Shooting Supplies. That was easy because like BB gun, like that's how I remembered that one.
The book rack.
The book
was
rack. I mean, that one's easy to remember.
They could have just called it the bookstore.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember
that's it.
Do you remember the slogan for Jerry's pest control business?
Oh my god. Yeah. Was it? I have it written down. So it's like knee deep in beavers, and it's like
Yeah. Wet Beaver Pest Control. Neck deep in beaver since
Neck deep in
1974.
Oh my! I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, folks.
All right.
That's episode 1 in the can. Blake out to an early lead.
That's right. Believe it or not.
So
Told you, now I know the rules of the game, and the whole thing's different now.
So the next movie up to watch is what was it again, Blake?
Swamp Ape.
Swamp Ape that you can find on Amazon Prime. It's not even an hour long.
Now I'm just chuckling to myself because I'm like, water bottle, machete, whipping, flashlight.
Oh my god. So yeah, the next time you hear from us will be on our next episode of Coming Attractions, where John and I will be putting up our movies for our next picks,
Yeah.
and then we'll do Swamp Ape, and more more Sasquatchery will be had.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
It sucks, doesn't it, John?
I'm just really I wouldn't be so bad if I didn't really want to watch that movie.
Well, no one's stopping you from watching it.
Well,
We're just
yeah,
not going
no,
to talk
I'm gonna
about
have
it.
to. I'm gonna have.
I'm
to.
glad somebody else knows what season 1 felt like for me.
Yeah. Well, until John loses 6 in a row.
You ain't gotta. Hey, easy. You ain't gotta be a dick about it.
So that's it, folks. We will see you next time. Go watch Swamp Ape.